Yaroslaw Bazaliy, right? Is that correct, Doctor?
Pretty good.
Yeah, I know my Slavic language is just not my strongest. So you're a citizen of Ukraine, or
Yes.
and you're teaching over here at the university right now.
Right. I teach here. I teach physics.
Yeah, physics, my kind of guy.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I want to talk to you as a Ukrainian. What are your thoughts about what's going on right now?
My thoughts that it's a very serious development. It's a development which will touch the whole world.
I agree. Mm-hmm.
And so trying to think about it as a local conflict is no more productive.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it wasn't intended like that by Russia, but that's how it turned out. And now the solidarity of Europe and the U.S. makes it an international conflict, which was coming for a long time, and finally we have it in a full-blown version.
I got to tell you that I'm just totally impressed with the resilience and strength of the Ukrainian people. Strong stock there.
I'm extremely impressed myself. It's something that people hoped for, but nobody could vouch that it will happen, and now it happened.
Yes, and you know, everybody expected, well, I know the Russians expected that it'd be rolling right over you guys in like 48 hours, but it didn't happen. It was amazing.
I am totally amazed and very grateful to people who are fighting. There is a technical superiority on Russian side, and yet, especially I think without any military education, the resistance in air defense is extremely important.
Yes. And I guess, do you have any insight into what's going on in university life in the Ukraine right now?
Well, I have colleagues in the city of Kharkiv. This is a city about 20 miles from the Russian border. It's a large city, one of the 2 or 3 largest cities in the country, and it is under attack right now. There were missile attacks on the areas where people live, on residential areas. But speaking about the university, I can say that I talked to people I know. They live, there are some parts of campus which are off the downtown, and they are at the edge of the city. They were attacked by missile fire again. A friend of mine had a missile hitting the apartment block where he lives near this campus part. Unfortunately for him, it didn't explode, but it was like 2 apartments from his windows. So if it did explode, he wouldn't talk to me anymore. Their buildings where they teach, where they have auditoriums, they are damaged right now. So, you know, you can understand that in a war zone, the research is not a priority, but that's what's happening.
I'm taking your picture, by the way. Because, what part of Ukraine are you from?
I am from this city, from Kharkiv.
Oh, and of course that was one of the major cities that was targeted very early by the Russians.
It was targeted because it's so close. And again, there were all possibilities that they will take it. But it didn't happen because of the bravery of the soldiers, but also because of the assistance, the military assistance, which Ukraine got in a couple of months before the invasion, when it was all building up.
So the city still hasn't fallen?
No.
As a matter of fact, I don't think any major city in Ukraine has fallen yet, have they?
That's right. Although there are advances in the south, where the Russian army comes from Crimea, which they have annexed in 2014, but still there is resistance.
Yeah, that reminds me. I remember very, very vividly what happened in Crimea, but that was a totally different experience. I think the Russians kind of went in a different way over there, right?
When the war starts, nobody is prepared for it. It's, people learn about it, they read about it, they study it in their military academies. But when it really starts, there is an emotional barrier, psychological barrier. Yes, the situation in Crimea was different. It was different in two ways. Way number one was that our previous the president who was in charge at that time and who was overthrown, he basically ran away.
Yeah, to Russia, right?
To Russia, yes.
Well, he was extremely corrupt, I understand. They found all kinds of things in his swimming pool and stuff like that.
He was an extremely corrupt person. And I think when he ran to Russia, he realized that it was not the best strategy.
Probably not.
And that his life there is not so good as he thought. But that's not the point. The point is that when the country has lack of leadership, and when there's a rotation of a leadership, when a parliament of 400 people has to decide in a matter of hours what to do with the outside aggression, this is not a good situation.
Yeah.
And that all led to the fact that Crimea case was very different. Also, what led to this case is that Russia had a naval and military base there, so they had troops inside already. Crimea is a small thing. You can go from one side to another in 2 hours in a car, so it wasn't that difficult. But the real difference, in my opinion, is that people understood that Russian invasion is possible. People saw it in Crimea, they saw it in Donbas region. The army was fighting since 2014 up to now. It was admittedly a low-intensity conflict. It's low intensity if you are sitting in the capital, 500 miles away, but if you are in the trenches and hundreds of thousands of people went through this conflict as soldiers, then for you in the trenches it's not local, not low intensity.
I want to talk about the refugees for a moment. There's a lot of folks leaving the country. I'm on another radio station that's in Poprad, Slovakia, which is one of the neighboring countries. As a matter of fact, Poprad is less than 500 miles from the border of Ukraine, and it's closer than Washington, D.C. is to here. So my friends over there are telling me that even that far away, 500 miles away, they're seeing an influx of refugees, and the Red Cross and other different international agencies are becoming involved.
Many people are trying to flee. The estimate is that there are hundreds of thousands of people who already crossed to neighboring countries. The European Union took a position of opening the border and allowing these people to get in and then caring about them as refugees, which is greatly appreciated, I think. I know some people who are trying to flee. They are still in transit. There are fears that if the Russians will have an advance, then you will not be able to flee from the eastern part of the country. Their goals are to cut the country in two, advancing both from the south, from Crimea, and from the north near the capital. Well,
that kind of brings up a question for me, because I know that they're also trying to enter the town of Lviv, or the city of Lviv. That's on the far western side of Ukraine. So you think that they still just want to divide it in two, or do you think they want the whole country?
Well, there may be some. I'm not sure that I have the completely updated information. I didn't hear about that. I heard about the rocket attacks and maybe air attacks there. They were targeting airfields and military installations. But I didn't know about any massive troop motion towards Lviv.
Okay. Lviv, that's the right way to say it? Okay, I want to make sure I get that, because I know it's not Kiev, it's Kiev. Yeah, so any final thoughts about the conflict going on over there?
This is not a pleasant thought, but I think if Putin will not use a nuclear option, he lost. And since his state is unknown to us, and since there are reasons to think that he is psychologically in a very different world, then this is possible, and this is why he's threatening with that. Normally, there are threats, but there is no action. But in this case, I think everybody, including the U.S., have to be extremely prepared. I think from what we read in the media, that's what's going on. That's what President Biden was talking about quite explicitly, and that is a danger for the whole world.
I agree. Dr. Yaroslaw Bazaliy. Did you write that time?
My pleasure. Thank you for talking to me.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate you coming in. He is teaching physics here at the University of South Carolina, and of course, he's a citizen of Ukraine, talking about what's going on over there right now.